Welcome to Aliens with JW, the podcast where aliens have conversations with humans and fellow aliens. Today's episode is with Apuwai. Apuwai is responsible for training the future kings on our planet. Apuwai, welcome to the show. Welcome to have me on the show. Um, JW, how is your time on Earth? Are you enjoying your experience? Yeah, I'm having an amazing time on Earth. I'm meeting amazing human beings. I'm trying new foods. I created a podcast to get to know more humans. And I figure, for our 10th episode, it'd be great to actually speak to somebody from our home planet. So I figured it'd be great to have you on the show to let the human world know and people here on Earth know a little bit more about somebody from our planet besides me. Well, that's cool. Feel free to ask me any question you would like to ask me. Um, I'm I'm willing to answer anything you want to ask. Well, that's awesome. Of course, I know who you are. Almost all the people on our planet know who we are, but the people on Earth, they don't know who you are. So let's first let the people on Earth know who you are and how you became a warrior in our kingdom, training the future kings of our planet. Well, my name is Apuwai. I am from the planet Apuwai. Yes, my parents named me after our planet. Um, my father, he was in the army. He was like one of the generals, and he just always wanted to give me a name that mattered, and meant something. And so, in having the name Apuwai, it was fitting for me to follow in my father's footsteps and basically become a warrior. I was lucky because my father was one of the best warriors in our planet, and he gave me the skills and the abilities to continue to be a good warrior and to pass on what he taught me to other people. And that's basically how I became a warrior. It was basically family legacy, family tradition to train and develop the future kings and fighters in the kingdom. It comes with a lot of pressure, but it's rewarding. Was there a defining moment where you knew you were actually a warrior? You know, that's a great question. You grew up doing all the training. You do training simulation, but you never really know how you're going to react until you actually are in a war zone or in a war situation. And I think that's when I first realized it. When I was in my first real battle, I didn't run. I just ran on my instincts, like training for a sport. You never know what you're going to do until game time. And so for me, that's when I really knew I was a warrior because when it came to war, I actually followed my training and I did what I was supposed to do. And that's when I really knew if I was, that I knew that I actually was one. Well, that makes perfect sense. What does being a warrior mean to you beyond just the battlefield? Well, I would say it's all about family and friends. Like, I think you become a warrior or you become a fighter to protect those people you love and to protect your home and to help ensure that the people after you have ability to have a safe life and to have the life that you had, and you have this vision of continuing to have an amazing world where they can prosper and be free to be who they want to be, and you're willing to fight for that. And I think that's what it's really all about behind being a warrior. It's about fighting for those people you love and the people you care about the most. And that kind of continues to promote me and continue to drive me to continue to fight and continue to train and continue to develop the next generation of us fellow aliens. You've taken on the role of training Rain and other fighters. What do you look for in a student? Well, that's a good question. There's a few things that I'm looking for in a student, but I would say the main thing I'm looking for is someone that knows why they are fighting. They know their purpose in life. They know their objectives. Another one is somebody that shows that when they get knocked down, do they quit or do they get back up? Another one is when things don't go their way or when they get angry, how do they respond? Are they overly emotional? Are they logical? If you're overly emotional, you won't be a good warrior. But if things don't go your way and you're logical and you're strategic and you're really good at chess and being strategic in that perspective, and you're looking at different avenues and you're studying um, the laws of war and you're studying how to navigate those things, those are some of the major things I'm looking for in a student because war is not always physical, it's also mental. You first got to win the war mentally. You must first win the war against yourself. And if you could win the war against yourself, then that's what I'm really looking for. But if you can't win the war amongst yourself, how can you defeat anything else in life? That's kind of like the major things I'm looking for in a student. What's the most difficult lesson your students need need to learn? I would say the hardest thing for them to learn is who they really are. I think that's important. I know I said you got to know who you are, but the same thing happened for me was I really didn't know if I was a warrior until I was actually truly tested in that moment. And that's when they learn who they are and they learn their shortcomings and they get the opportunity to really see it. But the only problem with that is it's in that moment where you might not make it. And I just hope that I've trained them I gave them the right training and I prepared them for that moment the same way that my father prepared me. And I hope that they make it out okay, just like how I made it out okay. Yes, I got some scars, but I made it out okay and it made me better. Do you believe anyone can be trained to fight, or there's something deeper, something within that makes you a true warrior? Yes, I believe everybody can be trained to fight. And even though you're trained to fight, not everybody's willing to fight. There's a lot of people that would say, if I was in this situation, I would do A, B, C, D. They don't know what they're going to really do. And there's some people that don't know what they're going to do in that situation. And they do the right thing and they do act. You never know if you're really a true warrior until you're in that situation. And it doesn't mean that you would do that same thing if the situation happened again and again. You just never know until you put in that situation on what you're going to do and who you're going to become. How do you handle the balance in discipline and compassion when teaching? I really believe it's not really about having a balance. I think it's really more about being honest, being truthful about everything, and also being fully transparent about your experiences and what can happen out there in the real world. And I think when you're that way and you're being truly genuine and caring, it's not really a balance. It's just being you and being vulnerable, and that's really really important in training people and teaching people. It's kind of also modeling the way and putting yourself on the line, being the first one to do the drills, stepping up when they're afraid. I think it starts with there, and that's kind of like what I do as a teacher and when I'm teaching my students. What first drew you to rain as a student? How is he growing as a student? I would say, the people on Earth don't know who Rain is actually, but we do. Rain is the prince of our world. He's the future leader and the future king. But the thing about him that is super amazing and super cool about his growth is, I think things I was talking about before. It's like he's transparent. He also is willing to learn, and he knows what he doesn't know, and he's willing to learn from other people, be a sponge, but he also is willing to lead when other people are afraid. Even when he's afraid, he's willing to lead. But he also knows when to back down and strategize for other situations. He's not quick to fight. He's really logical. And I think that's one of the really great things I see from him in his growth. I won't say that has to do with me. I think that more from his father, the peaceful warrior. I think the peaceful warrior is an amazing leader and a trainer as well. So, out of regards to that part of it, I think that's more from his dad than me, because the peaceful warrior is kind of like modeling it as a leader and the ruler of of our planet. Training the future protectors of the kingdom comes with responsibilities. Do you ever feel the weight of that? What can happen if you fail? But that's a great question. I look at it more from being a parent or a guardian. Um, your job is to give them the tools to be successful in life. And once you give them those tools and they go out into the real world, it's to still to be there and to guide them and give them advice, but also step in to look out for them and protect them at times. So in failing, that's different. There's very different, very levels of failing. But there is a huge weight there. I think it keeps me up every night. I think almost every parent out there in the world feels that when they have their kids and they leave the home or they go out late at night when things happen. It's a huge weight on them. That's I would call it more like that, like the weight that a parent has when when they have children. But at the same time, you got to trust that the stuff that you trained them and you gave them is going to hold them over, and you just got to continue to be present and hope that you did your best and the stuff you instilled in them helps them win. Do you believe strength comes more from the body, the mind, or the spirit? Well, that's a great question. Um, it all depends on the situation. In some situations, if it's more strategic, your mind. But if you think about the body, if you're in a hand-to-hand combat situation, your mind is also important, but your body got to be able to withstand and be resilient in what is going on. But if your body goes, your your mind not be able to help you. But if your mind goes, then your body might not be able to help you. But then also you got your spirit. So I feel like they all are important, and depending on the situation, your body, your mind, or your spirit will be more important. But they all three are important at the same time. It's just that depending on the situation, which would be need to be more stronger. But I feel like all three of them need to be strong. Without giving too much away, what do you see ahead for our kingdom and for reign as well? Well, that's a great question. I would say one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to for our kingdom is to continue to learn, to continue to experiment, and to continue to explore and enhance our thought and enhance our knowledge of the world. That's kind of like why JW came to you're on Earth right now, is to continue to learn about other cultures, other species of the world, and to see how can we become better individuals. What can we learn from them that can make us better and continue to improve our planet? I think that's one of the most beautiful things that I see, and I think from these experiences, I just see this also helping Rain become the king and leader that we want him to become. What do you hope your legacy will be as both a warrior and a teacher? I've been thinking about that more and more lately, but I would definitely have to say that my legacy isn't really my legacy. I say that I don't like using saying legacy as a word. I just want and I hope that the people I've trained continue to become continue to be amazing human beings and continue to do things the right way and continue to have love for the world and to put everybody in to do the right stuff. And that's basically about it. To have love for the world, protect their family, and care for everybody, even the smallest person on the planet. Now, before we wrap up, I'd love to ask you a few light questions so people can see you from another side, not just from as a warrior. After a long day of training, what is your favorite way to relax? Well, there's a few things I love to do. One, I do yoga. Yoga helps me relax. Another thing that I do is I love going to the spa. Oh my God, the spa is so relaxing. Oh my God, it just makes me feel so good. It just like I feel like a new human being. No, I'm not human, but that's something that you taught me about being on Earth. That there are spas. We didn't have that on our planet, but now we have spas, and it has changed and revolutionized my life. If you weren't a warrior, what other path could you see yourself taking in the kingdom? Let me think about that. But I would say Be an artist, be a painter. Actually, that's what I do now. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but even though I'm a warrior, I make a lot of art and I paint. So if I wasn't a primary warrior, I'll be a full-time artist, just bringing art to the world. Do you have a favorite food or drink that gives you strength before a battle? I would say I have a new favorite food, squid jerky. JW and Joshua, thank you for sending us over those delicious squid jerkies. They're so amazing. Like the amount of protein that they have, it's just the right amount of food I need to give me the energy I need to last through a battle. Thank you so much. Who wins in a sparring match between you and Rain? Be honest. I would say me right now, honestly, but Rain, he is getting closer and closer to winning a sparring match. He hasn't won any yet, but he's getting really close. What is one thing about Apple that will surprise people who only see you as a warrior? Well, you might not notice, but I secretly love to dance. Dancing is deep in my soul. I just love to dance when I'm by myself, but not around people. So that's a wrap for today's show. Huge thank you to Appleway for taking the time to come on my show. If you like the conversation, feel free to share the video with a friend or a loved one. Until next time on Aliens with JW, the podcast where aliens have conversation with humans and fellow aliens. Have a great day.